The 2024 Gas EC300 has all the huge 23 KTM updates from the frame, swing arm, and of course the motor being TBI, throttle body injection. There's a few things that are actually different between the KTM and the Gas, and I just want to get into that as well as my initial opinion and thoughts on the bike. I had a 2022 TPI Gas in the past. I did a 350-hour review on it, and it was a great bike. But let's dive into some of the new things about the 24 version that I'm excited about. The new Gas has an all aluminum subframe. This is like the older bikes, before the 24 XCW, which now has half aluminum, half plastic. And we all know from the Huskies that plastic subframe is really easy to break. So I think the Gas will be ideal for hard enduro where, the bike gets tossed and thrown a lot more. So that is definitely a big plus for the Gas. Unfortunately, it does use the old Explorer open cartridge forks, opposed to the new 24 XCW, which gets the exact closed cartridge forks, which it's just a superior design. Everybody's been wanting them to go back to these style forks, and they've just held off for so long until now. The old Explorer forks, they were nice because they were so soft, and that's good for hard enduro. They just came really soft, which isn't ideal for fast stuff. It would have been better if they would have just softened up the new exact forks for the Gas. It does say the forks are longer though, so probably to compensate for the new frame design, maybe it's more raked out or something. The rear shock is the new WP exact shock found on the 24 XC, so it does have those hand clickers, which is nice. So you can adjust high, low speed, and all that compression, rebound. It does have a different starter button than the 24 XCW, but it looks equally as bad. I think they can't beat that old style single button where you had the option to put starter on the left or right and vice versa for the kill button. They're trying to combine it so the handlebars are cleaned up, but it's just looks like a lot more plastic, a lot easier to break. Not ideal in my opinion. The marketing for this bike does emphasize hard enduro, so potentially this could mean maybe a less stiff frame than the KTMs. The new KTM frames I've been hearing are very stiff. They're more inclined towards that fast single track, fast race pace, more motocross style. Still has the silver wheels, unfortunately. The black I just think is better. Even if it's scratched, it just looks better, so that sucks. The top of the tank, they added this black thing on the top. The lower part is still clear, which is good because you can check your fuel level when you're out on the trail, but the shrouds do cover most of the tank, so it's still looks kind of hard to see the fuel level. The seat mount, it's hard to tell. It might be different than the 24 XCW, which has that front bolt design, because you can't see it because that plastic thing on the gas tank. So I don't know if you have to remove the top black tank cover to get to the seat bolt, which would be kind of annoying. They say the throttle housing is stronger, and they specify that it's impact resistance, but to me it looks like the previous year casted throttle housing. Maybe the photo's not up to date, but I can confirm that the older casting style is not impact resistant, and they do break really easy when you somersault your bike. So it does have throttle body injection, which all the new KTMs have. I'm hoping that means it has a lot more bottom end power. I haven't personally owned a TBI yet. I've just tested them. But I'm thinking it'll be a better power than the TPIs. Maybe more like my beloved carb bike. I'm not sure. It's hard to beat that thing. It does have an electric oil pump, so that means like the TPIs, you don't have to mix your gas. I personally prefer the premix version that comes on the 24 XCs. So, there's just one less component that could fail and potentially blow up your bike. I wonder if you could convert these bikes so that they would be premix. That would be pretty cool. They say it has a new front disc, but they're still using the Brake Tech brand, which people have mixed opinions on. Some say they work fine. They worked fine on my 22, but some are also saying that the casting is just weaker or cheaper or whatever, and they just break easier compared to the Brembos. So keep that in mind. But as far as performance, it seems like they work well. If it's like the previous gases, it will have a 9mm brake tech clutch piston, which means a very light pull and also a longer pull, so you can control that power on pivots and slick conditions and that sort of thing. They do note that the lever has a new shape this year. I don't remember anything wrong with the old shape, but I don't know, maybe they improved it somehow. There's no info on the flywheel weight yet. The older gases were lighter than the KTMs, but if they are promoting this as a hard enduro bike, maybe they've gone with a heavier one. This is something I've been wanting to experiment with my KTM, going heavier on the flywheel and just seeing how that feels. I think it could be a potentially good thing for hard enduro. But if the gas has a light one, they sell kits that are like $100 or something that you add a weight. You could change it to whatever you want. So it does have a cheaper price than the KTM and the Huskies, which leaves room to upgrade your forks. Because they're the older style forks, you could upgrade to the WP closed cartridge forks, the 6500 kit, which I'm running right now, and you could get it tuned to your weight and style with that extra money, and that's money well spent. You could hit up Mikey at Deja Suspension. He's been testing and working with these newer style bikes, so he'd be a good person to work with on that. A big selling point for me on the Gas EC is that it has the larger stator like the XCW, but it also has the linkage like the XC. So in the past, what that has meant is that the bike actually sits lower with linkage, and I have shorter legs, so this is a huge bonus, especially when riding technical hard enduro stuff where dabbing is just part of how you ride. Honestly, the linkage just feels better. If you end up riding faster stuff and hitting chatter or whoops compared to a PDS shock, it just stays planted really well. The PDS shock has come a long way, but even on my recent post, when I kind of asked about the new PDS, people are saying when they went from their PDS bike to a linkage bike, they noticed that the linkage bike felt better and they preferred that. So something to keep in mind. There's no word on which transmission is in this bike, but I'm guessing since they kind of simplified things with the 24XC and the XCW sharing the same transmission, I'm really disappointed that they got rid of the old XC transmission. It just felt better in that first and second gear. You just didn't have to shift as much as the XCWs, and I really preferred that. So going forward, we're going to have to figure out the new sprockets and gearing since all the numbers are different. It comes with like a 14 or something in the front. So yeah, those are some of the differences on the gases and what they changed and what they improved. I know Let's Ride and Idaho are going to have these bikes next month, so I'm thinking about maybe picking one up. So let me know what you think about these new gases. Is there any selling points for you or things that are holding you back from getting one? Be curious to know if I missed anything. Thanks, guys. See you out on the trail.